Hi guys, welcome to Simply Scuba. Here we have the Apeks Freeflow Control Device. So this is a very simple little thing, and as the name suggests, it's going to control free flows. Let's take a quick look. Okay, so let's get 60 seconds on the clock. Now, to be brutally honest, I think I'm going to be repeating myself quite a lot on this video because it's a very simple device. The Freeflow Control Device is basically a little switch that sits between your second stage and the hose that feeds it, and it's going to interrupt airflow if that second stage starts to free flow. So a lot of the time, instead of like switching off the tank valve completely, that's usually the only way that you can sort of stop some free flows. So it's quite handy to have a shut-off valve somewhere in that loop, and this is sort of what that does. So it normally allows decent normal airflow to come through to your second stage, but if it does start free flowing for whatever reason, you can just slide this little collar across, and what that does is it interrupts sort of airflow to that point. The hose is still pressurized, so you can then interrupt that free flow and then resume normal airflow. Okay, so time to look a little bit closer. So it's a very, very simple device. You've basically got a section of Delrin or some kind of plastic polymer. So around this, we've got a very obvious open and close, and you can rotate this kind of collar around, so it's kind of always facing you. So in an emergency, you know. And these are actually detachable. That does actually come off. Just make sure that you put it back on the right way round. And on the inside, you can see this is what's sort of letting the sort of airflow sort of come in and go back out, and that's what's going to interrupt it. So I'm going to hook it up to a MTX RC. So this is just the standard, what is this, 9/16 UNF thread. I'm not going to, I'm just going to do it hand tight for time. And yeah, it goes on really quickly and easily, obviously. And I'm just going to leave it in the open position, so just sort of pull it back. There's no like locking mechanism, it's kind of free to move around. And I'm just going to turn this cylinder on. And then your regulator works. But if your regulator is free flowing, you can just interrupt it. So yeah, that's quite handy if your second stages, you really need them to be sort of on point, and it's very handy to have that kind of shut off. It's very easy to sort of put it back on. There's no like resistance, you don't have to put too much force on it. You've got a decent amount of like crenellation, kind of grip. So even if you've got big clunky gloves, that's very easy to sort of activate. If I switch this off again, and yeah, it is a useful device, but you do kind of have to know what you're doing to use it, because it doesn't have a locking mechanism. You might sort of bump that, and if that takes you by surprise, that's the last thing you want to do, switch to a second stage that isn't sort of feeding you. So you do need to be quite proficient with your sort of airway control and making sure that you're pretty switched on with this type of device. But yeah, if you do need a free flow control device, yeah, very simple, very effective, and it's not very obtrusive neither. It just kind of sits in that line. Sure, it's adding some extra failure point, but yeah, if this is kind of what you're after, then this will do the job. Okay, so who is the free flow control device for? So this is really for sort of divers with multiple stages, and you need to keep that regulator pressurized, but you don't want to risk any kind of free flows or just sort of wasting gas. So if you fit this to the second stage on your cylinders, then yes, you can check to make sure the tank valve is open, check to make sure that this is open as well. You can close it when you're not using it, that way you're not sort of risking any sort of water ingress. But yeah, it's a handy device. It's not really for recreational diving, it's not really meant for like your primary or anything. It's more for second stages that are going to be out of your mouth, more likely to sort of free flow in colder waters, and you need to keep that regulator pressurized, but you don't want to risk a free flow. And yeah, it's a very neat, simple device. yeah, if you have the need for it, then yes, I will definitely recommend the Apeks Freeflow Control Device. And that's the Apeks Freeflow Control Device, a very handy little gadget as long as you sort of know what it does and how it works. So yes, if you want us to make any of these kind of reviews, then so let us know what products that you want. If we don't stock them, then of course go to the manufacturer and just say, hey, can you send a sample over to the boys and girls at Simply Scuba? If you are the manufacturer, then the address is listed down in the description below of sort of where to send your samples, and then yeah, we'll do this type of review for your stuff, and other people will go, huh, okay, maybe we should buy it. But yeah, if there is anything that you want us to do a review on, just send it to the address listed below, and yeah, we'll see if we can do it. Thanks for watching, and safe diving. We are an online dive store serving the UK and the world for all your diving equipment needs. So why not visit us at simplyscuba.com or click the box on your screen.